The medical bay of Nova Prime Station was always busy. Dozens of alien species filled the waiting area, their strange voices mixing together in a loud chorus of complaints and demands. The massive space station floated in the void between three solar systems, serving as a meeting place for the galaxy's most important civilizations. Dr. Jake Murphy walked through the crowded room, his medical bag in hand. He had been working on Nova Prime for only 1 week, but he already knew the rules. The tall Valorians with their golden skin got treated first. The wealthy Centauri merchants never had to wait. The robot-like synthetics received immediate attention for their mechanical problems. Everyone else had to wait their turn. In the far corner of the room, a small figure sat alone on a metal bench. Jake noticed her on his second day at the station. She was a Zarathi, one of the newer species to join the galactic community. Her pale blue skin looked almost gray under the harsh lights, and her large eyes held a sadness that made Jake's chest tight. The girl looked to be about 12 years old in human terms. She wore simple clothes that had seen better days, and she held her thin arms wrapped around her stomach as if she was in pain. Every time someone walked past her, they moved away quickly as if touching her might bring them bad luck. Jake had seen this before. Back on Earth, in the hospitals of Chicago where he trained, he had watched people ignore the homeless, the poor, the ones who could not pay. But this was different. This was a child, and she was clearly sick. Dr. Murphy, a voice called behind him. Jake turned to see Dr. Lisa Martinez, another human physician who had been on the station for 2 years. Ready for morning rounds? Jake nodded but kept looking at the Zarathi girl. What about her? She's been here every day this week. Lisa followed his gaze and sighed. That's Zara. Don't waste your time. The Zarathi are low priority. We have more important patients to worry about. She's a sick child, Jake said, his voice harder than he meant it to be. She's a Zarathi child, Lisa corrected. Look, I know how this sounds, but if you want to keep your job here, you need to understand the system. The station needs good relationships with the major powers. The Zarathi have nothing to offer us. No advanced technology, no valuable resources, no political influence. Helping them won't advance your career. Jake watched as a group of Valorian diplomats pushed past the girl without even looking at her. One of them knocked into her shoulder, making her gasp in pain, but they did not stop to apologize. How long has she been coming here? Jake asked. 3 weeks, maybe 4. She shows up every morning, waits all day, then leaves when the medical bay closes. The other doctors have already examined her. They say there's nothing wrong that a little rest won't cure. Jake frowned. He had worked in emergency medicine for 8 years before coming to Nova Prime. He knew the difference between a child who needed rest and a child who was truly sick. The way Zara held herself, the pale color of her skin, the careful way she moved. These were signs of real illness. I'm going to talk to her, Jake said. Lisa grabbed his arm. Jake, listen to me. Dr. Vasquez specifically told the human medical staff to focus on building relationships with the important species. If you spend your time on Zarathi patients, it will reflect poorly on all of us. Jake pulled his arm free. I became a doctor to help sick people. That girl is sick. He walked across the room toward Zara, ignoring the stares from other patients. As he got closer, he could see that her breathing was shallow and quick. Dark circles surrounded her large eyes, and her hands shook slightly. When Jake knelt down, in front of her bench, Zara looked up in surprise. Most people avoided eye contact with her species, treating the Zarathi as if they were invisible. Hello, Jake said softly. He had learned a few words of Zarathi during his preparation for the station assignment. I am Jake, Dr. Jake. What is your name? The girl's eyes went wide. She looked around the room as if checking to see if this was some kind of trick. When she saw that Jake was really talking to her, tears began to form in her eyes. Zara, she whispered in accented Standard Galactic. My name is Zara. Zara is a beautiful name, Jake said, switching back to Standard Galactic so she could understand him better. Can you tell me what hurts? Zara's hands moved to her stomach, then to her head, then back to her stomach. Everything hurts, doctor. Jake, it has been hurting for many days. Jake could see other patients and medical staff watching them now. Some looked curious. Others seemed annoyed that he was taking time with a Zarathi. He ignored them all. Would you like me to help you? Feel better? Jake asked. Zara nodded quickly, hope filling her large eyes for the first time in weeks. Yes, please, I have asked the other doctors, but they say I am fine. They say Zarathi do not get really sick. Jake felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his voice calm and kind. Well, I think you might be sick, and I think I can help you. Would you like to come with me to my office? You want to help me? Zara asked, as if she could not believe what she was hearing. Yes, Jake said firmly. I want to help you. As Jake helped Zara stand up, he noticed how weak she was. She had to lean on him just to walk, and her breathing became even more labored with the small effort. Other patients in the waiting room began to whisper among themselves. A Valorian official made a sound of disgust. A Centauri merchant shook, his head in disapproval. But Jake did not care what they thought. He was a doctor and Zara was his patient. Nothing else mattered. Jake's office was small but clean, with medical equipment that looked familiar even among all the alien technology on Nova Prime. He helped Zara sit on the examination table, noticing how she winced with every movement. This might feel cold, Jake said as he activated the medical scanner. The device hummed quietly as it began reading Zara's vital signs. What Jake saw on the screen made his blood run cold. Zara's nervous system was failing. Her brain activity showed dangerous patterns, and her body temperature was dropping slowly but steadily. The scanner identified the condition immediately: neurological cascade syndrome. Jake had read about this disease during his medical training. It was rare but deadly, affecting certain alien species when their nervous systems began to shut down, piece by piece. Without treatment, patients had maybe 2 weeks before complete organ failure. Zara, Jake said gently, how long have you been feeling sick? Many days, she replied, her voice weak. First my head hurt, then my stomach. Now everything feels heavy and cold. Jake checked the scanner readings again. The disease was already in stage 2 of 3 stages. Zara needed medicine immediately, or she would die within days. I need to get you some medicine, Jake told her. Stay here and rest, I will be back soon. Jake hurried to the medical supply room where all medications were stored. He found what he needed: Synthanol 7, a powerful drug that could stop neurological cascade syndrome if given in time. But when he tried to access it, a red warning appeared on the screen. Restricted medication. Authorization required for non-essential species. Jake stared at the screen in disbelief. Non-essential species. That was how the system classified the Zarathi. Their lives were considered less important than others. He went straight to Dr. Elena Vasquez, the chief medical officer of Nova Prime. Her office was large and filled with awards from various alien governments. She looked up from her desk when Jake entered. Dr. Murphy, how can I help you? I need access to Synthanol 7, Jake said. I have a patient with neurological cascade syndrome. What species? Dr. Vasquez asked, already reaching for her authorization pad. Zarathi. Dr. Vasquez's hand stopped moving. She looked at Jake with tired eyes. I'm sorry, but I cannot authorize that medication for a Zarathi patient. She's a child and she's dying, Jake said, trying to keep his voice calm. Dr. Murphy, you need to understand how things work on this station. Synthanol 7 is expensive and limited. We keep it for diplomatic priority patients. If a Valorian ambassador or a Centauri trade leader needs it, we must have it available. So Zara dies because she was born the wrong species? Dr. Vasquez sighed. I don't like it either, but these are the rules. The Zarathi delegation knew the medical limitations when they came here. Perhaps their own doctors can help her. Jake left the office angry and frustrated. He returned to Zara, who was lying on the examination table with her eyes closed. Her father, Keth, had arrived and was sitting beside her, holding her small hand. Dr. Jake, Keth said when he saw him. Thank you for helping my daughter. The other doctors would not even look at her. Jake sat down across from them. Keth, I need to ask you something. Have other Zarathi children been getting sick like Zara? Keth's face grew sad. Yes. 3 others on the station have the same sickness. We asked for help weeks ago, but our requests were denied. They told us to wait. Do your people have doctors? Medicine? We have healers, Keth said, but not the kind of medicine Zara needs. We came to Nova Prime hoping to learn from other species to share knowledge that might help everyone. Jake was confused. Share knowledge? What kind of knowledge? Keth hesitated, then seemed to make a decision. My people have ways of healing that others do not understand. We can feel the life energy in living things. We can help bodies heal themselves without machines or chemicals. That sounds like bioresonance healing, Jake said. He had heard of such techniques but had never seen them used. Yes, but no one will listen to us. They think we are too simple, too backward. They see our old clothes and our small ships and decide we have nothing valuable to offer. Jake thought about this. Keth, could your healing methods help with other diseases? Things that affect different species? Oh yes, Keith said, his voice becoming excited. We have helped many different kinds of life forms. The energy patterns are similar in most living beings. But when we try to share this knowledge, we are ignored or told we are wrong. An idea began forming in Jake's mind. What if we combined your healing techniques with our medical technology? Would that work? Keth's eyes lit up. It might work very well. Our healers have always said that the best medicine uses both the body's natural power and outside help. Jake looked at Zara, who was listening to their conversation even though her eyes remained closed. Zara, would you be willing to try a treatment that combines human medicine with Zarathi healing? The girl opened her eyes and nodded weakly. I trust you, Dr. Jake. That evening, Jake returned to the medical supply room. This time, he was not alone. Amy Collins, a nurse from Texas who had been watching Jake's work with interest, was with him. Are you sure about this? Amy asked as she watched Jake prepare to override the security system. That little girl is going to die if we don't help her, Jake replied. I became a doctor to save lives, not to follow rules that let children die. Amy nodded. Then let's save her life. Jake created a false medical emergency report for a Valorian diplomat, claiming the patient needed Synthanol 7 immediately. While the system processed the emergency authorization, Amy quietly redirected part of the medication to Jake's private storage. Within an hour, they had enough Synthanol 7 to treat not just Zara, but the other 6 Zarathi children as well. Now comes the hard part, Jake said as they returned to his office. We need to learn how Zarathi healing works, and we need to do it fast. Keth was waiting for them with Zara, who looked even weaker than before. Are you ready to try something? That has never been done before, Jake asked. We are ready, Keth replied. My daughter's life depends on it. Jake injected the Synthanol 7 into Zara's arm, while Keth placed his hands gently on her forehead. The Zarathi father closed his eyes and began to hum softly, a low sound that seemed to make the air in the room vibrate. What is he doing? Amy whispered. He is feeling for her life energy, Jake explained, watching the medical monitors carefully. Zarathi healers can sense the flow of energy through living bodies. Keth's humming grew stronger, and something amazing happened. The readings on Jake's medical equipment began to change. Zara's heart rate, which had been weak and irregular, started to steady. Her brain activity became more normal. This is impossible, Amy said, staring at the monitors. But Jake was watching Zara's face. Color was returning to her pale blue skin. Her breathing became deeper and more relaxed. The medicine was working faster than it should have, as if Keth's healing energy was helping her body accept the treatment. After an hour, Zara opened her eyes and sat up. She looked around the room with wonder, as if she was seeing clearly for the first time in weeks. I feel better, she said, her voice stronger than it had been all week. The pain is gone. Jake ran another scan. The neurological cascade syndrome was retreating. Zara's nervous system was healing at an incredible rate. How did you do that? Jake asked Keth. The medicine fixed what was broken, Keth explained. The healing energy helped her body remember how to be healthy. Together, they work much better than either one alone. Over the next few days, word spread quietly through the Zarathi community. Other parents brought their sick children to Jake's office in secret. Jake and Amy worked during their off hours using the stolen Synthanol 7 and learning more about bioresonance healing from Keth and other Zarathi adults. Each treatment was more successful than the last. A young Zarathi boy with a damaged spine was able to walk again. A girl with failing organs recovered completely. Jake began to understand that Zarathi healing could do things that human medicine could not. "We need to document this," Jake told Amy as they finished treating their 8th patient. This combination of human medicine and Zarathi healing could help millions of people across the galaxy. But their secret activities were becoming harder to hide. Dr. Vasquez noticed that Synthanol 7 supplies were running low much faster than expected. She began asking questions about why so many emergency authorizations were being processed. Security Chief Marcus Stone, a man who followed every rule exactly, started watching Jake's movements. He noticed that Jake was spending time in unused storage rooms and meeting with Zarathi families after hours. The situation became more dangerous when Commander Lisa Price, the station's human administrator, received complaints from several alien diplomatic groups. They had heard rumors that unauthorized medical treatments were being given to low-priority species. "This needs to stop," Commander Price told Dr. Vasquez during a private meeting. "The Valorian ambassador is asking questions. The Centauri Trade Council is concerned that we're wasting resources on worthless species. If this continues, it could damage our relationships with the major powers." Dr. Vasquez nodded. "I'll handle it. We can't let one doctor ruin decades of careful diplomacy." But Jake was too focused on his work to notice the danger. He had just discovered something incredible. When he combined human medical technology with Zarathi bioresonance techniques, he could treat diseases that were considered incurable. A Valorian worker with nerve damage that had ended his career was brought to Jake secretly by his family. Using the hybrid healing method, Jake was able to restore full function to the man's damaged nerves. A Centauri child with a genetic disorder that caused constant pain was completely cured. "We're not just treating Zarathi anymore," Amy said one evening as they cleaned up after another successful treatment. "People from other species are starting to come to us." "That's the point," Jake replied. "This healing method works on everyone. The Zarathi have been trying to share this knowledge for months, but nobody would listen because they thought the Zarathi were too primitive to know anything useful." Keth, who had become Jake's partner in developing the hybrid treatments, smiled, sadly. "My people have always known that life energy flows through all living things the same way. But we were told our ideas were too simple, too old-fashioned." "There's nothing simple about what you do," Jake said. "You can sense things that our most advanced machines cannot detect. You can guide healing in ways that we never imagined." But their success was about to bring them serious trouble. Dr. Vasquez had been tracking the medical supply usage carefully, and she had discovered that someone was taking restricted medications without proper authorization. She also noticed that several important patients from different species had reported miraculous recoveries from conditions that should have been permanent. When she investigated, she found that all of these patients had one thing in common. They had all been treated by Dr. Jake Murphy. Early one morning, Dr. Vasquez arrived at Jake's office with Security Chief Stone and 2 security guards. They found Jake preparing another dose of Synthanol 7 for a sick Zarathi child. "Dr. Murphy," Dr. Vasquez said coldly, "you are under arrest for theft of medical supplies, practicing unauthorized medicine, and violating station protocol." Jake looked at the child on his examination table, a young boy named Tem who was in the early stages of neurological cascade syndrome. Without treatment, Tem would be dead within a week. "Let me finish treating this patient," Jake said calmly. "Step away from the patient immediately," Security Chief Stone ordered. Jake looked at Tem's frightened face, then at Keth, who was standing nearby with tears in his eyes. He thought about all the children he had saved, all the impossible cures he had witnessed when human medicine and Zarathi healing worked together. "No," Jake said firmly. "I'm not stepping away from a sick child." Security Chief Stone moved toward Jake, but something unexpected happened. Zara appeared in the doorway. No longer the weak, ignored girl she had been 2 weeks ago. She was healthy and strong, and she was not alone. Behind her stood dozens of other Zarathi patients that Jake had treated, along with patients from other species who had also been healed. "You will not stop Dr. Jake," Zara said in perfect standard galactic, speaking with confidence that surprised everyone in the room. "He saved our lives when no one else would help us." Dr. Vasquez stared at the crowd of healthy patients. She recognized several faces, patients who had been considered hopeless cases now standing strong and well. "This is impossible," she whispered. "These people were dying." "They were dying because no one would listen," Zara replied. "Dr. Jake listened. He learned. He helped us help ourselves." The confrontation was just beginning, and Jake knew that everything he had worked for was about to be tested. The medical bay fell silent as everyone stared at the crowd of healthy patients standing behind Zara. Dr. Vasquez looked confused and angry. She had expected to find Jake stealing medicine to help a few sick aliens. Instead, she found dozens of people who should have been dead or disabled, all standing strong and healthy. "This changes nothing," Dr. Vasquez said, trying to regain control. "Dr. Murphy broke the law. He stole restricted medicine and practiced unauthorized treatments." "He saved our lives," said a tall Valorian man stepping forward from the crowd. Jake recognized him as Vex, a station worker who had lost the use of his arms in an accident months ago. Now Vex moved his arms normally, flexing his fingers with ease. "Impossible," Dr. Vasquez whispered. "Valorian nerve damage is permanent. There is no cure." "There was no cure," Vex corrected, "until Dr. Jake and the Zarathi healers worked together. They fixed what your advanced medicine said could never be fixed." A small Centauri child pushed through the crowd, her parents behind her. Jake remembered her well. She was born with a genetic condition that caused constant pain. No medicine had ever helped her. Now she ran and played like any healthy child. "My daughter has not felt pain in 5 days," the Centauri father said. "For 3 years, she cried every day. Now she smiles. How can you call this wrong?" "Security." Chief Stone looked uncomfortable. He was a man who followed rules, but the evidence in front of him was hard to ignore. Dozens of people who had been suffering were now healthy and happy. "The rules exist for good reasons," Stone said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Do they?" Zara asked, stepping closer to Dr. Vasquez. "Your rules said my life was not worth saving. Your rules said my people had nothing to offer. Your rules would have let me die." Zara turned to address the growing crowd of aliens who had gathered to watch the confrontation. "For weeks I sat in that corner asking for help. Doctors walked past me like I was invisible. They said Zarathi do not get really sick. They said we were not important enough for real medicine." Her voice grew stronger as she spoke. "But we do get sick, we do die. And we do have knowledge that can help others." Dr. Jake was the only one who saw this. He was the only one who listened. Keth stepped forward and placed a gentle hand on his daughter's shoulder. "My people have been trying to share our healing knowledge for months. We came to Nova Prime hoping to help others and learn from them. Instead, we were treated like beggars." "Your healing methods are unproven," Dr. Vasquez argued. "They could be dangerous." "More dangerous than letting children die?" Jake asked, finally speaking up. He gestured to Tem, the young Zarathi boy who was still lying on the examination table. "This boy has neurological cascade syndrome. Without treatment, he will be dead in a week. Is following your rules worth his life?" Dr. Vasquez looked at Tem, then back at the crowd of healthy patients. "Even if your treatments work, you stole medicine. You violated protocol. You cannot just ignore the system." "The system is broken," said a new voice from the doorway. Everyone turned to see Commander Lisa Price entering the medical bay. Behind her walked several important-looking aliens, including a Valorian ambassador and a Centauri trade leader. "Commander Price," Dr. Vasquez said, relief in her voice. "Please arrest Dr. Murphy immediately. He has been stealing medicine and practicing illegal treatments." But Commander Price was not looking at Jake. She was staring at the crowd of healthy patients with amazement. "Is it true? Can Zarathi healing really cure diseases we thought were impossible to treat?" Before anyone could answer, The Valorian ambassador stepped forward. Commander Price, I demand an explanation. My aide Vex was permanently disabled. Now he stands here with full use of his arms. How is this possible? Vex bowed respectfully to the ambassador. Sir, Dr. Jake and the Zarathi healers worked together to fix my damaged nerves. They used both human medicine and Zarathi energy, healing. Together, the treatments did what neither could do alone. The Centauri trade leader was examining the healthy child, running a portable scanner over her body. Remarkable, he muttered. All signs of genetic damage are gone. This should be impossible. It is not impossible, Keth said quietly. It just requires cooperation between different kinds of knowledge. Your machines are very good at finding problems and delivering medicine. Our healing energy is very good at helping bodies remember how to be healthy. Together they create miracles. Commander Price looked thoughtful. Dr. Murphy, explain exactly what you have been doing. Jake straightened up, knowing that his next words could determine his fate. I have been combining human medical technology with Zarathi bioresonance healing. The Zarathi can sense and direct life energy in ways that our equipment cannot measure. When we use their techniques along with our medicine, we can treat conditions that were previously incurable. And the stolen medicine? Commander Price asked. I took Synthanol 7 to save dying children who were denied treatment because of their species. I would do it again. The room was quiet for a long moment. Then the Valorian ambassador spoke. Commander Price, if this hybrid healing method works as well as it appears, we need to study it immediately. The medical applications could revolutionize treatment throughout the galaxy. Absolutely not, said a harsh voice from the entrance. Everyone turned to see Dr. Harold Kane, the chief medical officer of the Galactic Medical Consortium, striding into the room with several official-looking assistants. Dr. Kane, Commander Price said with surprise, what brings you to Nova Prime? Reports of illegal medical practices, Dr. Kane replied coldly. He looked at Jake with disgust. This man has been practicing unlicensed alien medicine, stealing regulated drugs and making false claims about miracle cures. I am here to shut down this operation immediately. Dr. Kane turned to address the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been deceived. These so-called miracle cures are temporary at best, dangerous at worst. Zarathi healing methods are primitive, superstition with no scientific basis. Then explain this, Vex said, raising his arms above his head. Explain how primitive superstition gave me back the use of my hands. Temporary nerve stimulation, Dr. Kane said dismissively. The effects will wear off within days and you may be left worse than before. Keth stepped forward, his usually gentle demeanor replaced by quiet anger. Dr. Kane, my people have been using bioresonance healing for thousands of years. We have helped countless beings from many different species. To call our knowledge primitive superstition is ignorant and insulting. Your people are newcomers to the galactic community, Dr. Kane replied. You have no advanced technology, no medical schools, no research facilities. What could you possibly teach us? Zara moved to stand beside her father. We could teach you that healing is about more than machines and chemicals. We could teach you to listen to what the body needs instead of just fighting what the body has. We could teach you that cooperation creates better results than competition. Dr. Kane laughed. A child lecturing me about medicine. This is exactly the kind of nonsense I came here to stop. But his laughter died when he saw the expressions on the faces around him. The Valorian ambassador looked angry. The Centauri trade leader appeared thoughtful. Commander Price seemed torn between following protocol and accepting the evidence before her eyes. Dr. Kane, the Valorian ambassador said slowly, my government would be very interested in any medical technique that could help our people. If these treatments work as demonstrated, we would want access to them. As would the Centauri Trade Federation, added the trade leader. Medical breakthroughs represent significant economic opportunities. Dr. Kane's face grew red. These treatments are unregulated and potentially dangerous. The Galactic Medical Consortium has strict protocols for approving new medical techniques. This hybrid healing has not been properly tested or certified. Then test it, Jake said simply. Study it. Certify it. But do not let more people die while you debate whether their lives are worth saving. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut. Jake knew that whatever happened next would determine not just his own future, but the future of every patient who could benefit from the combination of human medicine and Zarathi healing. The argument in the medical bay was interrupted by the arrival of another man. Dr. Carl Bennett, Jake's former teacher from medical school on Earth, walked into the room with quiet confidence. Behind him came doctors from several different species, all wearing the badges of the Galactic Health Authority. Dr. Bennett, Jake said with surprise, "What are you doing here?" "I came to see if the reports were true," Dr. Bennett replied, looking around at the crowd of healthy patients. "I have been studying the medical data you sent to Earth. The combination of human medicine and Zarathi healing shows results that we have never seen before." Dr. Kane turned to face the new arrival. "Dr. Bennett, I hope you are not here to support this dangerous nonsense. These unauthorized treatments could harm millions of people." "On the contrary," Dr. Bennett said calmly, "I am here to offer official support from the Galactic Health Authority for continued research into hybrid healing methods." The room erupted in surprised voices. Dr. Kane looked shocked and angry. Commander Price appeared relieved. The alien ambassadors began talking excitedly among themselves. "This is outrageous," Dr. Kane protested. "The medical consortium has authority over all new treatments. You cannot simply ignore our protocols." "We are not ignoring anything," said Dr. Sarah Kim, a Galactic Health Authority scientist who had entered with Dr. Bennett. "We have reviewed Dr. Murphy's research data and interviewed several patients who were treated with hybrid methods. The results speak for themselves." Dr. Kim activated a holographic display that showed medical scans and treatment records. Patient after patient has shown complete recovery from conditions that were considered incurable. The success rate is over 90%. These are not temporary improvements. They are permanent cures. Zara stepped forward to address the group. "My people have been waiting for someone to listen to us. We never wanted to keep our knowledge secret. We wanted to share it with everyone who could benefit." "But your healing methods are not scientific," Dr. Kane argued. "They cannot be measured or tested properly." Keth smiled gently. "That is not true. Dr. Jake found ways to measure what we do. He used his machines to watch how healing energy affects the body. Science and ancient wisdom can work together." Jake nodded. "The bioresonance healing can be studied and documented just like any other medical technique. We have recordings of brain activity, cellular regeneration rates, and energy flow patterns during treatments. The data is all there." Dr. Bennett pulled up another holographic display showing detailed medical readings. "These measurements prove that Zarathi healing works by stimulating the body's natural repair systems at the cellular level. It is not magic or superstition. It is a form of medicine that we simply did not understand before." Commander Price looked at the evidence with growing amazement. "If this is real, why has it taken so long to discover it?" "Because no one would listen to the Zarathi," Jake answered. "They were classified as a minor species with nothing valuable to offer. Their requests for medical cooperation were ignored or denied." The Valorian ambassador stepped forward. "This must change immediately. If the Zarathi possess medical knowledge that can help our people, we want to establish formal cooperation agreements." "As does the Centauri Federation," added the trade leader. "We propose immediate funding for research facilities and training programs." Dr. Kane's face grew red with anger. "You are all making a terrible mistake. Allowing unregulated alien medicine will open the door to dangerous quackery and false cures. The medical consortium exists to protect people from exactly this kind of reckless experimentation. The only reckless thing here is letting people die while you debate politics," Jake said firmly. "Tem is still lying on that table, getting sicker every minute. Are we going to argue about regulations while a child dies?" Dr. Bennett walked over to examine Tem, running a medical scanner over the young boy. "Advanced neurological cascade syndrome," he confirmed. "Without treatment, he has perhaps 3 days left." "Then treat him," Commander Price ordered. Dr. Murphy, you have permission to proceed with whatever treatment you think will save this child's life. Dr. Kane started to object, but the Valorian ambassador cut him off. The decision has been made. This station is under joint authority and we support the treatment. Jake quickly prepared another dose of Synthanol 7 while Keth moved to place his hands on Tem's forehead. As the treatment began, Dr. Bennett and the other scientists watched the medical monitors with fascination. Incredible, Dr. Kim whispered, as she watched the readings change. The healing energy is somehow directing the medicine exactly where it needs to go. The efficiency is unlike anything I have ever seen. Within an hour, Tem was sitting up and talking to his parents. The deadly disease that should have killed him was retreating rapidly from his nervous system. Dr. Kane watched the successful treatment in stunned silence. Finally, he spoke quietly. Even if this works, it will take years to properly study and implement. People will die waiting for approval. Then we do not wait, Zara said with determination that surprised everyone. My people are willing to teach anyone who wants to learn. We can start training programs immediately. The Galactic Health Authority agrees, Dr. Bennett announced. We propose establishing Nova Prime as the first hybrid medical research center, with Dr. Murphy as the director and the Zarathi healers as full partners. 6 months later, Jake stood in the expanded medical center that now occupied an entire section of Nova Prime Station. The waiting room was filled with patients from dozens of different species, but nobody sat alone in corners anymore. Zarathi healers worked alongside human doctors, alien surgeons, and robotic medical assistants. Zara, now wearing the uniform of a certified medical translator, was helping a new patient fill out treatment forms. She had become the youngest certified medical interpreter in galactic history and was already being invited to speak at medical conferences throughout the galaxy. Dr. Jake, she called out, the morning schedule is ready. Jake looked at the list of patients. A Valorian child with bone disease, a human trader with liver damage, a Centauri diplomat with heart problems, a synthetic robot with damaged processing circuits, all conditions that could now be treated successfully using hybrid healing methods. How many students do we have this week? Jake asked Amy, who had become the head of the training program. 43, Amy replied with a smile. Doctors from 17 different species, and we have a waiting list of over 300 who want to learn the hybrid techniques. Keth approached them, carrying a datapad filled with treatment reports. The success rates continue to improve, he said happily. As more healers learn to work with medical technology, and more doctors learn bioresonance techniques, the treatments become even more effective. Jake looked around at the bustling medical center that had grown from a simple act of compassion. Who would have thought that helping one ignored alien girl would change medicine throughout the galaxy? You changed more than medicine, Zara said, overhearing his comment. You changed how people think about each other. You showed that every species has something valuable to offer, if others are willing to listen. Through the large windows of the medical center, Jake could see other parts of Nova Prime Station where similar changes were happening. The Zarathi were no longer treated as a minor species. They had become respected partners in galactic society. Other previously ignored species were also finding their voices and sharing their knowledge. What is next for us? Jake asked. Zara smiled, her large eyes bright with excitement. Next, we help the Clinari people share their agricultural knowledge, and the Vorthak want to teach their engineering techniques, and the Zephyrians have music that can heal mental trauma. Jake laughed. It sounds like we are going to be very busy. Good, Zara replied. There are many more people in the galaxy who need help, and now we know that the best way to help them is to listen to everyone, learn from everyone, and work together. As Jake began his rounds treating patients with techniques that combined the best of human science and Zarathi wisdom, he reflected on how one simple decision had changed everything. He had chosen to see the value in a sick alien child when everyone else saw only an inconvenience. That choice had led to medical breakthroughs that were saving thousands of lives across the galaxy. But more importantly, it had proven that compassion and cooperation could overcome prejudice and fear. In a universe full of different species, with different abilities, The greatest strength came not from advanced technology or political power, but from the willingness to help those who needed it most.